Um, yeah, this is my first live broadcast. A lot of people have been saying they want me to broadcast live, so here I am, live from my home. And I'm here to answer any questions that you have, and also for you to know me a little bit better. As time goes on, we'll work on the broadcast and make sure that it's a little clearer and easier to hear if you can't hear it, and that I'll be able to see your questions and your comments. Kind of odd that I can't see them. I'm kind of concerned about that, but we'll figure this out over time, I promise. Anyway, so go ahead and type in a question or something you want to talk about tonight. We are discussing anything that has been on my YouTube channel or anything that you've had questions about, or maybe something you're going through. This is your opportunity to get to know me and pick my brain a little bit, I guess you could say. So go ahead and post your questions. I'll answer the best I can. And Shawnee will let me know what you type because I cannot see anybody's typing, unfortunately, tonight. Shawnee, are you there? Shawnee? Oh, did anybody type anything yet? Okay. All right. Well, I want to let you all know that I am working on another video, possibly a video series, as usually happens when I do my videos. This one will be regarding, it'll be called Why I Stayed. And what I'm going to be discussing is why people stay in abusive narcissistic relationships. So it should be interesting. I read an article today about several women that did stay in these types of relationships, and they discussed why they stayed. And I wanted to talk about people's different reasons as to why to stay in the abuse, why they don't cry out for help, why they don't leave, why if they leave they go back, that type of stuff. I thought that would be something interesting and pertinent because there's a lot of people I know that are in this very situation, even as we speak. And I was in that situation. I stayed for 23 years in my narcissistic marriage. And my reasons were varied, but children was the number one reason. My children were young, and I didn't feel that they could understand what was going on. So I waited until they were old enough to understand what was happening. And even so, that was really hard, difficult. If you have seen my video, I'm trying to think of what it's called. Perils of Divorce from the Instigator, I think is what I named it. Then you've seen where I've talked about the feelings I went through and some of the situations I went through when I left my own marriage, when I lived in the shelters that I lived in with my youngest daughter. How it hurt me to leave my other daughter behind. Um, just some of the very tormenting thoughts, I guess, that eventually cropped up. The regrets that I had and things like that. So if you haven't seen that yet, definitely go to my link. I can post it at the end of the broadcast, definitely, so you can check that out. Carols of Divorce from the Instigator. Any questions yet, Shawnee? Shawnee? Okay, I may have lost her. I really wish I could see all of your typing. I'm trying so hard to figure out this chat thing. I'm going to keep on trying, so hopefully by the end of the broadcast I can actually see the comments. I'm used to doing this on Pale Talk, so this is a whole new format for me, being on the Google Hangouts and the YouTube channel. I'm wondering if maybe on YouTube I could see your comments. So. Yeah, I'm listening. Okay, yes, I understand that. Especially if you were a young bride, you had, flowery ideas of how life was supposed to be, and of course, that's how you wanted it. And you definitely, oh, hang on a second. Maybe this will fix my problem. I just got a message. Alright, hang on, everybody. I'm trying to see if I can fix this little chat dilemma here. You're already in another video call and the other call. Okay, we don't want to do that. Let's close that down. All right. Okay, close that down. Oh, hold on. Hold on, remember. Sorry, I'll answer your question or reply to your comment in just a moment. And just constantly trying to improve this whole connection thing. All right. No, that didn't work. Okay. Well, anyways, yeah, like I said, when you're young and you're a young bride or even an older bride, you have ideas of how life is supposed to be. Maybe you were raised to believe that, like me, the woman is supposed to submit to the man and the man takes care of her. Well, sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. And in a typical narcissistic situation, the narcissist takes advantage of that. In my case, my ex husband, my first ex husband, used that to his advantage. Well, you're supposed to submit to me and you're supposed to do what I say, and it's not your place to question me. You just do what I tell you to do and you mind me, kind of like a little child. So your whole idea of marriage is shattered at that point, and you're disillusioned and delusioned, thinking that, it wasn't supposed to be this way. What did I do wrong? That's usually your first idea. And if you go to a church, usually, not usually, but sometimes the pastors will say, well, if you just go home and submit to your man, he'll come to the Lord and you won't have any problems. The counselors will often blame it on the other person, woman or man, depending who the narcissistic abuser is. You know, it's the other person's fault. It's your fault. It's not their fault. If you would just give them what they want, meet their needs and do what they need you to do, then you wouldn't have these problems. But the fact is, with narcissists, no matter what you do, they're not pleased. So there is no pleasing a narcissist. And you feel like you're constantly never good enough, you haven't done enough, that you're just stuck. You're trapped, you're stuck. That's the best way to put it. And my next video or video series on why I stayed, not I personally, but why women have stayed and men have stayed. I think that'll answer your questions about some things regarding your own relationship. If you did have a specific question, feel free to ask it and Shawnee will relay it to me. Welcome to everybody. I'm really sorry I can't see your chat, your names, or anything, and I can't figure out why that is. But my cousin here is relaying your questions to me. Well, she was. I kind of lost her as well. But anyway, I guess she'll call me back in a minute and let me know what any other questions are. I really need to figure out how I can see you all to view what you're saying. I only see me in the live chat, and that's the problem. Let's see. To list all available commands, enter. Hang on, let me see if maybe I do this, if I can get us so that we can see what you're writing here. 1 second, please. That didn't work, did it? Okay, guys, I don't know. I'm not sure why I can't see the group chat, but this is really not working for me too well because I really want to see y'all. Okay, well, at least you can hear me. That's a plus. I've got to get Shawnee back so I know what you're saying, though, because I can't see what you're saying. Okay. I'm calling my cousin back so she can tell me what you're saying. Hi, whoever else joined. I see I have 6 viewers in here. Thank you for coming to the broadcast. I apologize, we're having some major technical difficulties because this is my very first time doing this. That's all right. She's plugging her phone in so she can tell me what you're saying. Promise you by next time, which I believe will be on the 29th, we will be able to have me see everything that you're saying, etc. I'm going to go into my settings now and see if maybe something is not letting me see you, which, no, it looks like everything's good on my end. Okay, well, I will just wait for her to tell me what you're saying. In the meanwhile, welcome. She's reading your questions and she will let me know what you're saying shortly. These broadcasts are a wonderful idea, but if you can't get everything to work right, it can be kind of frustrating. I'm going to try to close and open the group chat again so I can make sure I can see you. I'm going to try anyways. Let's see. What did you say? What did you say, Shawnee? Okay. Yep. Hi, Laura. I'm Laura Beth, so I'm kind of happy with the name Laura. It's kind of neat to see another Laura in here. Welcome. Welcome, everybody here. As I said, I can't really see what you're typing, unfortunately, which is driving me a little crazy. But Shawnee and I will work on it by the next hangout and figure this out. She will let me know anything that you type in, so please do type into the chat if you possibly can, so that I can at least answer your questions through her. Feel free, whatever you wanted to ask me. I am live, so you're talking to the real person here. No video where you can't have a back and forth conversation. You can definitely do that. So just go ahead and type in. My cousin's reading, and she's going to relay to me what you say, what you ask. Okay, sounds like a good plan. All right, give me one moment. I'm going to bring up the screen. I'm going to talk about the characteristics of narcissistic personality disorder. I apologize for the delay. My computer is a bit slow in pulling things up. There are 9 characteristics of narcissistic personality disorder. And I will be sharing those in just a minute and elaborating on them for you. You have to have, I believe, 5 of the 9 in order to actually be labeled as having the disorder. I want to make sure I bring up a reputable source here. So I'm looking in the Mayo Clinic site. These characteristics come from the DSM-4 or 5. The new one is the DSM-6, and that stands for Diagnostic Statistical Manual. If anybody is really smart in psychology, feel free to correct me if I get something wrong here. I am not somebody that knows everything. I more or less talk from experience and a little bit of training that I've had. I don't claim to be someone that, is a guru in the field or has the top knowledge. I just teach you and share with you from my experience and what I know. What I know works for me, what has happened to me, and other people that I know of. I'm still waiting for my screen to open up. Again, I apologize for the delay. Well, while I'm waiting for the screen to open up, I want to thank each and every one of you for not only coming here, but watching me over the years. As I said, I've been doing this since 2009. When I made my very first video, it was actually a hobby. I just tested out a video because I had a message to get out. I usually tell people what I'm all about is, number one, narcissism. This person that you're with that is exhibiting these traits, they really are a narcissist and you're not crazy. Number 2, there's help for you. And let me think of what the third thing is. Oh, and I believe you. That's the third thing. I believe you. Because one of the travesties of being in a narcissistic relationship is that when you go to talk to somebody about it, they think you're crazy. They think you're exaggerating. They can't believe somebody would be that cruel to anybody else, or that selfish or ignorant towards you. And it's true. There are people out there that really don't seem to have a conscience, don't have empathy, and lack, just common decency in relationships. All right, so I am on the Mayo Clinic site. we're going to talk about the symptoms of narcissistic personality disorder. Okay, and this is from the DSM-5. Criteria for narcissistic personality disorder includes these features: having an exaggerated sense of self-importance. What I want to clarify here is a lot of people think when you say narcissist, they think it's somebody that's conceited, full of themselves, and just wants to be seen all the time or the center of attention. It's not that. Narcissism, especially the personality disorder itself, is about somebody presenting a false image to the public, to people outside of the situation, and at first, the false image to you when you meet the person. So it's not so much having a sense of self-importance, but false self-importance. So a sense of this false image that they're creating, this persona, is all important to them. And they are seeking narcissistic supply, praise, adoration, ego boost, whatever you want to call it, to boost up this false image. And yeah, that kind of sounds almost like a biblical thing, like Bible stuff, how we have graven images or false images. But it's not exactly that. It's literally a false persona, almost like dealing with a whole other separate person than the person that you're talking to. So that's the first part of it. The next thing is expecting to be recognized as superior even without achievements that warrant it. So what they mean is a lot of narcissistic people are braggarts. They like to boast about how wonderful they are and how they did this and that, but they've never actually achieved fully what they're saying. They can say, well, yes, I've written all these famous books and I've gone abroad and I've done this and I've done that. But if you research it, a lot of times you don't find any evidence of that. In other words, they're liars and they're exaggerators and they're braggarts. And you just won't see anything verifying what they're saying. And honestly, as soon as somebody lies to you a few times, that should be a red flag to have you hightail it the opposite direction. But these people are crafty and they know how to reel you in and keep you reeled in. So if you have fallen for one, don't beat yourself up. It's very easy to do. They're very cunning people and they're good at what they do. They've had lots of practice with people before you came along. Hold on one moment. Yep. Okay. Well, first of all, I want to let you know I cannot diagnose anybody on a hangout type thing like this. I do have experience in psychology, so I could tell you that his traits are narcissist or they're not narcissistic or not. But you can't really diagnose somebody. You have to, unfortunately, have a therapist do that. All you can do is look at their behaviors. I will say if there's any abuse going on, then you need to talk to a safe person and get out if it's safe to do so, or at least alert somebody to what you're going through. Definitely. And I don't mean me, I mean somebody in your local area who can keep an eye on things and be there if you need an escape route or something. That's something you should always have in mind if there's abuse happening. If it's just somebody that's being annoying and bullying, then you can look at the traits and you can kind of gauge for yourself as to whether this person has these traits. And I talked about a few of them. I don't know if you just came into the room or not, but or onto the chat or not. But I am now talking about the criteria for the personality disorder. I talked about having an exaggerated sense of self-importance or false self-importance. They create a false self-persona. So they're not always who they are 1 minute to the next. You see them kind of switch. Similar to somebody with multiple personalities. In fact, I think there is a big crossover between multiple personalities and narcissism in a lot of cases. Then the other thing I said was they want to be recognized as superior even without the achievements that warrant it. That means they want to be seen as this big lofty person that did all these things, but you can't find any proof of it. There's no evidence of it. The next thing is exaggerating your achievements and talents, which kind of goes along the same line as that. they exaggerate everything that they've done to make themselves look really good. And again, there's no evidence of it. They're just talking, they're blowing smoke. It's an illusion. The next criteria is being preoccupied with fantasies about success, power, brilliance, beauty, or the perfect mate. They're grandiose. That's a better way of saying that. They have grandiose thinking. One narcissist in my life, who was kind of a public speaker, talked about how her perfect idea of being in a coliseum and public speaking would be to have a hot air balloon lower her down into the stadium where she'd be speaking and drive out of it on her motorcycle and come up to the podium and start speaking. That's what I mean about grandiose. So that was her idea of, her unlimited success, power, brilliance, beauty, and just very oddity, obviously, of that type of thing. But there's other ways that they exhibit these types of traits. That's just one example. I'm sure you've heard some stories and some plans and things that the narcissist in your life or the person that you're with that you suspect is a narcissist is coming up with that's just making you shake your head and saying, are they for real? Did they really say what I think they just said? Because when you're with a narcissist, that's how you feel a lot of times. It's like they're larger than life and they just come up with this outlandish, crazy stuff. Was there another question, Shawnee? Okay, that's very common. Actually, narcissists are usually attracted to borderlines or well, people with borderline personality disorder or people with codependency issues or dependency issues. Because people with borderline issues, their biggest root of their issues are the fear of abandonment, and narcissists will use that to string you along to keep you stuck to them. Just because you have borderline personality disorder does not mean you deserve to be abused or stay in an abusive situation. I do want to say that. Um, but it's very difficult to get out of any relationship, let alone a narcissistic one. So the best thing you can do is, if you don't have a therapist, to get one. Try to get dialectic behavioral therapy. That's the best thing to deal with your borderline issues, and start rebuilding your sense of identity apart from this person that you're attached to. That's the best advice I can give you with that. But you don't deserve to be abused just because you have a personality disorder. I don't think narcissists deserve to be abused because they have a personality disorder, but neither do people deserve to be scapegoated by them because of their personality disorder. So it's all about finding that balance for yourself and getting the help that you individually need. I hope that answered that question somewhat. And anybody else that has any questions or comments, feel free to post. My cousin's reading them to me over the phone, and I'm answering them here in the room as best as I can since I can't see anybody's chat, unfortunately. The next criteria, oh, and you can let me know if I answered that. The next criteria is believing that a narcissist is superior and can only be understood by or associate with equally special people. Narcissists feel that the only people that understand them are people that have arrived, people that are successful, people that have money, people that are basically where the narcissist views him or herself. So they will, what they call name drop. They'll talk about knowing these people in the higher up positions. They know famous movie stars, or they have personal ins with Washington, D.C. and the President of the United States, and they're on their red phone, and that kind of stuff. They'll say things like that, but they'll say it in such a way that it's almost believable. That's why narcissists fascinate people so much and draw you in, because there is a sense of crisis, yes, when you're with them, but that same sense of crisis makes life exciting. And chances are, before you met the narcissist, you didn't have a very exciting or enjoyable life. Narcissists can be very witty and full of humor. They're funny. They're great storytellers. I was once told if the things that the devil used to draw people in didn't work, he wouldn't use them. So of course drugs are enjoyable, and getting drunk is enjoyable, and illicit relationships are enjoyable. Of course the narcissist is going to be funny and enjoyable to be around for the most part until he starts the devaluing process. He or she knows how to reel you in, and they're going to look larger than life and exciting in order to keep you reeled in. So again, that's just how they roll, I guess you could say. Um, they require constant admiration. That's an understatement. The narcissist is it in their eyes. They are the highest achiever. They are the best in the company. They are the best movie star, the best parent. Whatever they want to be the best at in their eyes, you ought to see them that way, because there is nobody as good or successful or beautiful as they are. So, yeah, you'll hear a lot of comments about that. And, you only wish you could be as good as I am. You'd be nothing without me. Who's going to want you? Look at what I did. I cleaned you up and got you on your feet, and look where you are now because of me. Or a parent that's narcissistic, as I call them, egg donors and sperm donors, will say, like when their daughter performs, for instance, oh, I taught her everything she knows. Just little comments to draw attention to themselves. They're all about that false self of the perfect whatever they think they are. Anyway, were there other comments, Shawnee? What? Okay. I sure wish I could see all your comments, but some glitch in my system is not allowing me to see anything other than my own comments. Very disappointing. I could talk to myself, but that's not as enjoyable as talking to all of you. And I'm really glad at least you can hear me and see me. I'd be upset if you couldn't at least do that, because a lot of people had wanted me to go live, so I decided to give it a try and see how it works. So other than the chat, I guess we're pretty good on the live thing. And sorry, I'm a little blurry too, at least over here I am. And I understand there is a little bit of a lag in the broadcast as well, and I apologize for that if that's distorting my voice or anything. Okay, we got some more things here that I'm going to talk to you about the characteristics. So, they have a sense of entitlement. Again, another understatement. Narcissists think that everybody owes them. They feel that if you do something nice for them, well, of course you did something nice for them. They're worth it. Of course you want to shower them with flowers and candy and your attention and your admiration, because after all, everybody would want to be with them. They're it. They're Mr. Wonderful or Mrs. Perfect or Diva or whatever. In fact, you see a lot of narcissism in the media and in stars, and like on TV, the way people dress, the way they present themselves. You'll see it everywhere. You'll see it even in society. It's very common, more and more common these days. Um, I'm kind of happy that a lot of people have started YouTube channels about narcissism, because this is not to brag in any way, shape, or form, but it is the fact. Way back when, in 1990, or I'm sorry, in 2009, when I started my channel, there was nothing that I ever found on narcissism or anything like that. There were abuse channels, um, there were some control freak channels, things like that, but nothing specifically naming the disorder, narcissistic personality disorder. When I started my channel, Sam Vaknin had a website, and still does, where he posts pages of his books for people to read, which is how I got the idea that I could get information I needed for my channel and to apply it into my own experience to share with everybody on my channel. That's why I laugh, because people say, oh, well, Sam Vaknin, he's the expert on it, and he's the only one that knows anything, and you're nobody. I laugh because a lot of my beginning videos came from what I read on his web channel. I just simply applied it to my own experience and rewrote it. So, which is what people do when they make videos. They get other people's ideas They tweak them, they put their own personal flair into it with their experience, and they present it. That's why I said anybody can run a YouTube channel. It's not that hard. Um, Anyhow, so we were talking about entitlement. I kind of elaborated on that enough, I think. Expecting special favors and unquestioning compliance with your expectations. Um, they do not tolerate you telling them no or questioning what their motives are or what they do. And as soon as you seem to have an issue with something they say or do, they will become very, very angry and even full of rage because they feel that they know it all, and your job is just to go along with them as the obedient little, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say guru, that's not the word. Minion, and not the cute little yellow ones either that my husband likes, but a minion, a follower, a gopher, somebody to do the narcissist bidding. They expect that of you. When you become their victim, you are to do what they say and not what you want to do or not what you think is right. You do what they say is right, what they tell you you're supposed to do and is the right thing. So that's what they expect from you. And they expect you to do special favors for them. They expect you to always be one step ahead of them. You should know what they want in their coffee, even if you just met them. You should know that they don't like to watch a certain show just because they think you should know it. Because everybody should know what they want. That's their entitlement. Also, if you do something nice for them and they don't thank you, and you may make mention of that and say, well, did you get that gift I sent you? Yeah. They'll say, yeah. Well, I never heard back from you. Well, were you expecting to? Well, yeah, I just wanted to know if you got it. I told you I got it. Well, I thought maybe you'd at least, let me know you had it and maybe thank me or something. What? You expect me to thank you for it? Why should I thank you for it? I didn't ask you to send it to me. I didn't ask you to give me a gift. That's how a narcissist will respond to you about something like that. Case in point, somebody in my family, a narcissist, for some reason, probably because she was trying to reel this teenager in, sent her a bathing suit and it didn't fit her. So I let the narcissist person in my life know that the bathing suit did not fit this person. And she mailed out another bathing suit in the right size. Well, the person that she mailed it to, this person I know, I said, that was really nice of her to do for you, especially being that this person was a narcissist, that she would actually do something kind was a miracle. Actually, she did stuff so that people would say, oh, well, she's so nice for her to do that. Well, this person said, well, why should I thank her? I didn't ask her to send it to me. I didn't ask her to get me the right size. I never even asked her to send me the first one. So why do I owe her a thank you? That's what I'm saying. Narcissists think they're entitled. They don't care about common manners, even. They just feel that you owe it to them. So, of course, you're going to give it to them. Anything for me to answer or talk about, Shawnee, in tech? What about what? Breaking up? Yeah, okay. How do you find a therapist that deals with deep inner childhood wounds? You ask a lot of questions when you go to find a therapist. You tell them that you were traumatized in childhood and you want somebody that specifically deals with that type of therapy. Um, you may look for like a regressional therapy type of situation. Um, Cognitive therapy is really good for that. I'm not sure if dialectic would specifically speak to that, but there's a lot of different, therapies that are out there that do deal with with childhood wounds. So I would specifically ask your therapy office, wherever you have one locally. Mental health center is a good place to check. Look in your phone book. make some phone calls and ask them, I need somebody that really deals with childhood wounds. And let me speak to something else about therapy. You are not obligated to tolerate abuse or neglect from any therapist. I've done videos on this. If you're in a therapy situation that you do not feel is meeting your needs, maybe the therapist is ignoring your questions or belittling you or blaming you for the other person's faults, whatever it is that you feel uncomfortable about, you have a right to say, this is not working out, I'd like another therapist. I've known people that have done that. I've done that. My husband's done that. It's okay. That's your right to do that. And please be brave enough to do that for yourself. Because therapists are there to help you. They're getting paid, most of them, quite a bit of money to help you. And if they are not helpful to you, then don't waste your time to be doing that. And you don't need to be hurt further. You've already been wounded enough, so further wounding is not a good idea. So yes, ask around, ask questions. Write me at delusiondispeller@gmail.com. If you let me know the general area you're in, I'll be happy to look up some agencies for you where we can try to hook you up with somebody that deals with that type of situation. Of course, it's dependent on your insurance, if you pay insurance to do it or out of pocket. Some people or some places have sliding fees. It just depends how you want to go about doing it. And the other question was something about a breakup. What did you say about the breakup? What about the breakup? I'm sorry. Oh boy. What can you expect when you break up with a narcissist? It depends what stage of the whole situation that you're in. Um, if it's the beginning of the relationship and you've caught on, probably not a whole lot of anything. But if you're further into the relationship where you've been wined and dined and idealized and they think you are the sun, moon, and stars and earth in between, then expect a lot of resistance and anger and possibly rage. They're not going to be happy about it unless they have another narcissistic supply person lined up on the side. But you have to understand something about a narcissist. It's very hard for them to keep their mask on for a long, long time. So they want to pull that mask off as quick as possible, but they want to be the one to do it once they're in control of you. So they're going to have this mask on and be pretending and whatever. And if you leave them or break up with them while they're still wearing the mask, I don't think you're going to see that much resistance. You're going to get out right on time. They're going to go right to their next victim. But if you've been with them a while, prepare yourself because they can range from just fighting verbally to physical abuse to really causing some damage and putting your life at risk. It depends because narcissists can also be sociopaths and psychopaths. You've got to really weigh the pros and cons of how you go about things. Always, always, always have a plan B, C, D, E, and lots of different plans if you're planning on leaving them. Make sure people know you're leaving them. Make sure that you have a place to be that's safe. Just be on the safe side. Always safety first. You know I say that on my videos. I can't stress that enough, especially after these articles that I read about these women that did choose to leave the abusers. Because I don't know who your particular narcissist is in your life, male or female, young or old. But chances are they have other issues besides just narcissism. They could have murderous tendencies, they could have drug problems, addictions, whatever. Just be careful, be safe, be smart about how you're doing things, and just do it very systematically. But, guard yourself in the process. I hope that answers the question. I'm going to go back to my list here. I'm almost done with these traits, but I wanted to share more with you here. Taking advantage of others to get what they want. I think that kind of spells itself out right there. They will do anything they can to get their supply, their adoration, their praise, or even to get you to be afraid of them. Whatever attention they want, they will do it. It reminds me of crabs or lobsters in a bucket. The ones on the bottom will climb over the other ones to get to the top of the bucket. And that's what narcissists will do. They'll climb over you to get to the top or to get whatever they want. So that's another trait of narcissism. Um, let's see. An inability or unwillingness to recognize the needs and feelings of others. Definitely. Um, as I said, they are number one in their eyes. Nobody compares to them, and there is nobody but them. So if you have a need, it's kind of like they're shocked. You're their puppet. How could you have a need? You don't have a soul. They are your soul. So it throws them that you would have any type of want or need other than what they say you should have. Whatever they give you is supposed to be the best for you, and you're supposed to be quite happy with it and not demand or want anything else. They can't understand that you would want something for yourself. That's just foreign to them because they see you as a puppet. They see you as somebody that exists to serve them, not has your own wants and needs. All right, let's see here. The next part. Another thing, trait of narcissistic personality disorder. Being envious of others and believing others envy you. Okay, a narcissist wants what everybody else has, and they think that everybody thinks that way. They will definitely tell you, oh, well, that person thinks they're really something with that beautiful car. I should have a car like that. They don't deserve it. That should have gone to me. You know, and they'll be like, don't you agree with me? Do you blame me? I know you probably feel the same way. You probably think that you should want that car too. You know, they think that just because they're snobbish and prudish and selfish that you are too. And they don't get it when you're not. If you look at them and say, no, I really don't want that car, I think they deserve it. They'll be like, what? What did you just say? And you'll be like, I think they deserve it. And then they'll stop talking to you, probably give you the silent treatment because you didn't play along with their little game. There's a verse in the Bible, pardon me, that I always talk about. We played the pipes and you did not dance. That's what narcissists expect you to do. They expect to play the pipes, so to speak, and you dance to their music. You just do what they tell you to do. I think this may be the last. No, there's a few more. Having an inability or unwillingness. Oh, I already read that. I'm sorry. Being envious of others. I read that. Last one. Behaving in an arrogant or haughty manner. Yeah. They're very haughty and very snobbish and very stuck up and conceited. But there's something different than just a typical conceited person. They infiltrate your life to a point where you lose your identity, where they tell you who you are. They tell you what food you like, what color is your favorite color. They tell you what clothes you like to wear. They tell you who you like to hang out with. They isolate you from your true friends, and they choose your friends for you. Is this kind of starting to sound a bit like a cult or a cult leader? Because yes, a lot of cult leaders are narcissists. A lot of higher up people in the church are narcissists. A lot of times you'll see somebody with what we call a Jezebel spirit that's standing next to a pastor or very close to the minister, telling him how he should run the church and how he should treat the people in the church. You can call that Jezebel, you can call it narcissism, it's all the same thing. It's somebody that is getting in there and controlling the other person for their own means. So yes, it's very cult-like, and you see it a lot in cults and a lot in higher-up situations because they do seek preeminence. They seek to be at the top of everything and the best of everything and in charge of everything. That's where they're the most comfortable. I'm going to check back with my cousin here a minute. Anything on the board, Sean? I didn't quite hear that. Was the kids in the background? Oh, wow. That's a great question. Don't they learn about or don't they teach about personality disorders in college? Wow. Let me speak to that situation, definitely. Because I went to college. And I have to be honest with you. Well, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. One of my daughters was seeing a therapist, and I had just gotten into making my narcissism videos and talking to people about narcissism. And I remember bringing up situations of where I was abused by a narcissist. And I remember the therapist looking at me and saying, "What's a narcissist?" And I was sitting there thinking, "You're a therapist. Shouldn't you kind of know this stuff?" Well, she had never heard of a narcissist, and she just got done with college. I had to sit there and teach the therapist what this personality disorder was. In fact, she didn't know anything about personality disorders at all. Now, I found that rather strange until I got to college. And I majored in many different psychology courses while I was there. And believe me, narcissism is barely even touched upon. Barely touched upon. And definitely not in grammar school or high school. No. Nobody learns that stuff. I wish they would. I wish they would teach it. I wish they would drill it home so that when people do start dating and forming relationships, they don't get caught in these traps with these people. So that was a very good question, though. But no, the answer is no. They don't. They don't teach that stuff in school at all, unfortunately. Where are you at, Shawnee? Yep. That's okay. Yeah. No, no, she's right. I mean, yes, she's right. Sorry, just a second. Yes, the silent treatment is definitely a form of emotional abuse and control because when you ignore somebody, it makes them unsettled, it makes you feel invisible, and the narcissist knows that. So, of course, to avoid that, you're going to do whatever they say to do, obviously, as far as they're concerned. Hang on just a second. I'm going to turn this down a little bit. You can hear Shawnee's kids in the background, and it's distracting me. But they're beautiful kids. She's got 11 children. She can't help it. They're beautiful children. Anyways, she is right that that is a form of emotional abuse. And if you are being given the silent treatment, I understand how upsetting that can be, definitely, because the narcissists in my life use that one a lot. Parents use that a lot. But yes, husbands, wives do it to each other, and it's not right. One of the markings of a good relationship is open communication, even if it means getting a little bit loud, and then having to regroup and come back together. At least you're talking. You should never give somebody the silent treatment. It's cruel. It's mean. And the person that cautioned me about discarding and things like that, I've already been there and done that, hon. Thank you for the concern and the caution, definitely. But I have gone through that more times than I can count, and I'm very wary and wise to it. So I do appreciate your concern, but honestly, I know how it can be. I know they are very vicious in how they do that. And it's as if they never knew you. Like you never shared anything together. You never went on any vacations together. You didn't go through his mom's death together. It's as if he just erases you off the slate as if you never had anything. You never knew each other. It's very, very upsetting. It definitely is. So definitely caution other people to that for sure. You got to always practice self care, really good self care. It's okay to be selfish. In fact, the Bible itself says, love others as you love yourself, love your neighbor as yourself. You have to love yourself first. You can't give love to other people if you don't have it inside yourself for yourself. Because honestly, you go to sleep with yourself, you wake up with yourself, and you die with yourself one day. And if you don't have a good relationship with self, then you're probably truly a miserable person. So that's what you need to be working on is your self-worth, your self-esteem, so that people can't tell you who you are. You know who you are, and you like who you are. Very important. Anything else in chat I need to speak to here? Johnny? Oh, did I lose her again? Oh, there she is. All right. She's muting her children on the other end, I can tell. Welcome back. I believe somebody left the room and came into the room, but I can't see who it is. So, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining me tonight for this broadcast. Glad you could make it. Pretty sure it's going to be archived, so you'll get to see it if you didn't see it already. Okay. Okay. All right. Not really sure what to do at this point since my question person is going to have to leave me. I really need to be able to see people's chat stuff here. Okay. I guess I will do that then. I may, instead of totally wrapping up, what I might do is open up Google Hangouts and just voice chat with people for now. I only heard part of what you said. I heard she's struggling with self-esteem. Okay. Um, yeah, no problem. Call me back when you're back. All right, bye. Okay, so you struggle with self-esteem, self-worth, understandable. A lot of us weren't given very positive messages about ourselves as children, so a lot of times that's where that stems from, is your feelings about your value as children. Because that is where you build your first idea of self, is in childhood. When you're growing up, the experiences you have, the people around you speak into you who you are. Your parents speak into you who you are. They tell you about yourself. And if they're not giving you positive messages, I'm not surprised that you don't have very high self esteem. And some people have, other disorders that cause them to have a distorted sense of self, and they need therapy for that. It's always good, like I said, to practice self care. And if you need help, to get a therapist to help you with that. Um, I am going to ask you right now if you'd like to continue chat for a little while longer, because it's not quite 8 o'clock, so I'm not exactly sure when we started, but I'm not sure if it was a complete hour. I would love to chat with you more in text if we could do that. If anybody would like to add me, I'd like to have you write me at my email address, delusiondispeller@gmail.com. If it showed up on the board, hopefully you can see it there. And we can definitely meet and talk some more. I can add you to Google Hangouts, or I can add you on Facebook, however you would like to do it. Write me at delusiondispeller@gmail.com right now in your email. I will read your emails, I will add you, and we can continue this chat on Google Hangouts. For now, I'm going to wrap it up. This has been Delusion Dispeller. This is my very first live chat. Unfortunately, the chat board did not work, so I couldn't see anybody in here. But I am looking forward to hearing from each one of you in a few moments at delusiondispeller@gmail.com. As always, if you don't get my videos, go to youtube.com/delusiondispeller, and you can watch my YouTube videos, and you can subscribe so you don't miss any of the future broadcasts and the future videos. Thank you all for coming. I'll be checking my email shortly as soon as I close down this chat, and I've enjoyed talking with you. I hope I've answered some of your questions. Invite your friends to the next chat. It should be on the 29th of this month, and we'll see you then. God bless for now and have a great night. Bye-bye.